Hi friends, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. It is a glorious and brisk morning late in October here, and as I was working, I ran into some tools that I don't use that much anymore. I use some, but I thought it's a wonderful opportunity to show you how you can use one tool to do multiple things. This grows out of that time in life when I had to be as frugal as possible and make each tool do as much as possible simply because of the cost. Now, most of you, if you do your own yard work, probably have a weed eater, and most of those weed eaters will be gas. If you don't have a weed eater, I have one that I will tell you to consider if you fit into those criteria. I need tools that I can make do as many things as possible. I have here a Troy-built standard weed eater. But the thing that I noticed years ago, this one was actually belonged to my dad before his death, so I was very pleased to get this model. I had an old weed eater that was just a weed eater. But I noticed with Dad's, there's a coupling right here. And with the simple mashing the detent ball there and loosening this, you can take the head off of this. So what I have on this is a hedge trimmer. We have hedges around to the front of the house, and I would have demonstrated this today, but a couple of weeks ago, my wife was in one of those moods where she wanted something to do, and she wanted to get the old loppers out and try to work on the hedges. So I brought her this thing, and she had the hedges trimmed in about 25 minutes. And that's two kind of holly-like trees and probably 8 bushes, and then one huge azalea plant. So, you know, plenty of work. Then she yelled at me to come get the trimmings up. But this item turns my standard weed eater with a push of a button, and I will show you how to change this out, into a very handy thing. I have the old electric hedge trimmers, and frankly, I despise stringing a 100-foot drop cord out, not because the 100-foot drop cord is such an inconvenience, but as I work around, especially that huge azalea, I end up I pull that cord around to reach the areas I want to, and sooner or later it snags in the bush, and a number of times I've come really close to trimming the cord. In fact, gosh, it's been, I guess, close to 10 years ago. Our youngest son here, the one that we lost a few years later, he wanted something to do, so I put him to work trimming, and he cut right through the cord and, of course, through the breaker in the house and all those things. So, to make my life simpler, I thought, well, the weed eater is, you know, you bring it out, you prime the carburetor, pull the string, and off you go. Wouldn't it be nice not to have to string cords out? So I bought the attachment for the hedge trimmer. Now, the nice thing about this that you don't get with your electric trimmer is, you see these holes here, it is adjustable. I'll have to set it down so I can use my hand. You simply pull this little rod out, which pulls a detent ball out, and then I can change the angle, and that angle, there we go, I got a piece of wood down here. That angle can go past vertical in both directions, or past horizontal, either way you're looking at it. So when I'm working on hedges, and in fact I've actually done some handyman work between jobs when I was unemployed and needed something income, I've gone into town and done hedge work for people, usually because they're too old, or in the case, one case, gosh, their hedge was just so very high. Well, I've already told you, my shoulders give me enough trouble, so when I'm working over my head, that becomes a problem. As simply as pushing this with my thumb, now I could take and trim across the top of these without having to reach so high over my head. Very easy thing to do. And it is every bit as powerful, if not more so, than about any electric model I've worked with. This attachment, I didn't think that went into the hole. There we go. This attachment, beyond the cost of your weed eater, this is a Troy-built weed eater. If you're going to buy these kind of attachments, there's 2 ways to go. There is steel brand, and then there's everything else. And the difference between the two is not the brand. Quality, of course, is another issue. Steel uses a separate attachment. The rest of these use a universal attachment. So the cost of a Troy-built weed eater, which my dad probably bought at Lowe's, you're talking upwards around $200. I'm not sure now. We all know the insanity with supply chain and the different economy that's going on. So it may be even higher than that. But I think at the time it was like $189.95 plus or minus. This attachment a few years ago cost me $100. Now the reason I'm telling you about that is not because $100 just for a hedge trimmer is pretty steep. And while we're talking here, let me just loosen this nut and push this. That quickly she comes right off. So a hedge trimmer by itself is not such a big thing. But I also kept a garden for a lot of years, and some years I've had big gardens, you know, where you use all tractor implements. And if you've seen some of my other videos, this year I actually have a pretty small garden, and have for the last few, because we garden inside a fence. Working around flower beds for my wife, working around this garden, especially when the plants are, you know, it's the middle of summer and I've got plants. I've got a very nice outfit that I can work really easily between the plants and not chew them up with, as you would with a bigger tiller. This implement, I'm trying to remember what I got this. You know, I've told you I'm a cheapskate. I don't know if this is $100. Most of these implements used to be somewhere around $100. But I am of the opinion if Lowe's Hardware is going to sell it to me for $100 and I can find it on eBay for $50, you can guess which route I'm going to go. So I may have bought this through one of the online services. But again, I'll just set this back up here while I'm talking. You just line this thing up. Where is my detent ball? There it is. And it slides right in. And all you have to do is tighten the collar pin up. It's probably off screen, but this pin here, and now we're in business. And no strain, no pain. It's just a very quick item that even a woman with not as strong in the grip as I am shouldn't have any problem with this. At the worst, you know, grab a pair of pliers, but there's no real strain to this. So my item came with the original string trimmer. I added the hedge trimmer. I also added the tiller here. There are other implements you can buy. One of the ones I find the most interesting, but I just don't need, there's a big head that goes on these things about this varying width, but about 2 feet wide, that has rubber tines, so it spins just like our tiller, except it spins. It's a sweeper, and it's great for sweeping off snow from your driveway or leaves or any other debris out of the yard. It works great. If you have a yard where you end up with gravel that kind of washes over into the yard, you can use those sweeps to roll it out. So it's a great item to add to your collection if you're wanting to use this kind of a system. I wanted to put my implements, I bought a steel weed eater a few years ago because we've got some items that I have to trim like once a year that just, this weed eater didn't give me the torque I needed. I went and bought a steel and the problem was over. But I didn't, well, I found out when I was buying it that these implements would not fit. If I wanted to go with Echo accepts the universal fit of all these implements. I just wanted to go with steel because I'm a steel fan, so I have to, I keep Dad's old unit here, and just to be honest, this morning it was 30-some degrees, and it was a little finicky about getting started, but hadn't been started, well, it was almost out of gas too, so that was part of it. But it did start, and it works wonderfully. In fact, let me see if I can get this thing to start. So it's easy to manipulate, it's easy to handle, and it does pretty good work. I could go do you a demo, but I've already tilled up my stuff for the fall, so you've seen other videos with that. Just take my word for it, the tiller works. Now, like most of these Mantis style tillers, and this one even more so, a Mantis style tiller, which I have one, it's not a Mantis brand, gives you more RPMs, and it will dig into firmer soil. With this, you're not going to break ground with it. So I always use this after plowing, usually with the tractor or some other implement. And when I got the garden inside the fence, couldn't get the tractor in, so that's why I bought a Mantis tiller, and a Mantis style, I should say. So I'm very pleased with that, but just be aware of your uses. Around a flower bed, if you allow it to get concrete hard, as it can in dry parts of the summer, you might have to take a mattock or something and make that initial breaking of the soil. Once you do that, it does pretty good. Can't think of anything else you need to know. By the way, some of the other implements I told you, they make a blower, so you can, it's really neat after you trim, if you have a lot of grass clippings around your porch, stoop, sidewalk, or any of those things, you make a quick switch and you can put that on. I have a gas blower, so it's just as easy to swap out the implements for me. So I didn't want to invest in all of the other tools, but it's a neat thing to be aware of. And if you go to any of those big box stores, there should be an area in there. Or you can look at weed eater attachments on Google. Google it, Amazon it, either way you want to go, even eBay, and you'll find a lot of options that you just don't see every day. So I hope this helps you. I hope that you enjoy the videos. If you do, I ask you to subscribe. That helps me out. We're just now building the channel this year. This is 2023, by the way. I know a lot of online people don't do that. That way they can recycle their videos. I can recycle this. There's no harm in me telling you, hey, this was made a year or two back up the road, if we get that far. But if you will subscribe, if you'll hit the like button, if you will share them, that also helps me a lot. If you have ideas for videos, or if you need to see a demonstration of something, don't hesitate to send me a message. You can do it here through the YouTube page, or I will also copy the link over onto my Bald Guy Facebook page, Bald Guy Basics Facebook page, and you'll be able to pick up the same videos here. That's a great way to reach me, because you can use Messenger, which will come directly to me. So Messenger will come to my phone and I'll get an alert. I don't have alerts set up on my YouTube because I don't want that many alerts, but I appreciate all of you who watch, and we'll see you on the next video.